Yes, hello, welcome back to the Rugby League Forecast podcast. My name is Connor Moran, and today I am going to review the Manly Sea Eagles 2025 season. Yeah, what a shit fight it was, honestly. The first month was outstanding. We versed the Cowboys in round one. Everything was looking great. We smashed them by about 40 points. We then go to New Zealand in round two, and we were awful. We played against New Zealand, who was smashed by Canberra and Vegas. And at that time, I remember thinking the Warriors could end up getting the wooden spoon. Luke Metcalf hadn't been proven yet. There was just a few warning signs from the Warriors. And as a Manly fan, them going over to New Zealand, I was confident we'd win big, and we lost. And it's just classic Manly. The inconsistency is something that I've been over as a Manly fan for many, many years. And when I look at that 2025 season that we just had as a Manly fan, just really disappointed with outcomes that happened off the field and the lack of stability that really surrounds the club. I mean, look, our first month was great. We lose round two, we win round three, round four, and after the Canberra game in round three, Daly Cherry Evans comes out and on 100% footy on a Monday night and explains that he's, leaving the Manly Sea Eagles. And basically this was the beginning of the end. And I was quite optimistic that, you know what, I reckon it could galvanise the side. But at the end of the day, the more I thought about it, the more I realised, you know what, if he was a teammate of mine, I'd be pretty filthy. Not at him leaving Manly. And as a fan, I'm not at all angry about Daly Cherry Evans leaving the Sea Eagles to take up another challenge. He's got every right to do that. Every right in the world to do that. He has earned the right, and he can do whatever he likes. But it's the way he handled the situation of leaving. Now, I don't think Manly handled the situation with his negotiations good either. I thought they really stuffed up the way in which they took their time of letting him, he should have been a priority to re-sign at the club until the end of his career. But they thought they were doing him a favour, and it's just a mess. It really is a mess. I just thought from November 2024, they should have said, DCE, here's a 2-3 year deal. You tell us how many you want, and we'll pay it. We'll pay it to you based on the fact that you've earned this final contract, and you're the most capped player at the club. I reckon he earned that. And look, I can understand that he felt disrespected as a player that's been there since 2011, won a premiership, just the best halfback the club has ever had. So I can understand his side of things, that he was disrespected. I can understand that. I think the club fucked up as well. But where I think Cherry Evans fucked up and did himself no favours at all is going on 100% footy and announcing that he will be leaving Manly, not in a polo shirt with the Sea Eagle emblem on his shirt, but he just went in his own smart clothes and did that. Now, I feel that was disrespectful, the way he handled that. If you look at the way Cooper Cronk left Melbourne, it was very smooth sailing. He had a press conference. He sat next to Craig Bellamy, and he announced that he would be leaving Melbourne, and he did not say that he was going to retire. And there was a strong indication, okay, he wants to move to Sydney with his wife and he could play on. There was a strong indication, and Melbourne knew that there was a strong chance he could play for another club. But the way he did it, it was just professional. It was full of respect, and he thanked the club for what Melbourne had given him and his family. And the way Daly Cherry Evans did it, if I'm a player and he's my captain and he wants to leave Manly, 100% fair enough. But to go on national television with the players apparently having fuck all notice that this was all going to happen, why did he think that by doing that it would help calm things? It is just so strange. I think the way Daly Cherry Evans handles himself through his career has been really poor. I really do. The backflip thing for the Titans, it's just every player has the right to take up different contracts and get paid as much as they want, or they, I mean, the Roosters, they're not even going to pay him as much as Manly offered him at the end of the day. But for Manly to come out on NRL 360 and announce that, it was just a shit show from both parties. And I don't sit with any party. I just think that they both fucked up, and it was a complete mess, and it was disrespectful to the fans, disrespectful to the members, and most importantly, it was disrespectful to Daly Cherry Evans' players, the players around him and the coaching staff. I actually felt quite sorry for that, because how did Daly Cherry Evans not see that there was a strong chance that this was going to derail the season? He may not agree with Tony Mestrov and the way things were done. He may feel disrespected, but at the end of the day, this club has given him so much money. It gave him his first start. It gave him a chance to win a premiership. It gave him so much. And the way he's handled situations and stood on the club. Did he ever want to play for Manly? There were question marks back in 2015 with the backflip. Was his heart... Is he only staying here for money? Yeah, obviously he was, right? They offered him a 10-year contract or 8-year contract at $1.2 million. At the time, it was the richest deal in the history of the NRL. And when he decided to backflip on the Gold Coast and stay with Manly, I was stoked as a Manly fan. I was over the moon because of the quality of player he is. But at the end of the day, I always had a question in my mind. Is he playing for the jersey? Is he really playing because he wants to be here? Or is it just the pay packet? And, because at the end of the day, if Bob Fulton didn't negotiate with him and get him to stay at Manly for that amount of money, would have he stayed? Probably not. So, like Daly Cherry Evans, good luck to him. He's been a terrific player at the club. I disagree with the way he's handled situations throughout his career. And as I said, him going to the Roosters, him going to another club, that doesn't upset me. It will get, I will get used to it. As a Manly fan, it's weird seeing him in a different jersey, but he can do that. He's earned the right to do whatever he likes. That doesn't upset me. It doesn't make me angry. But the way he handled that on 100% footy, he should have gone, you know what? Manly have fucked this situation up. I'm going to be the better man, and I'm going to handle this the better way. He had an opportunity to do that, and he didn't. He brought himself back down to the club's level of handling things. And I thought he was better than that. I thought there was probably a sense of maturity of the way in which he handled the backflip drama. I don't know if he has improved in terms of maturity in handling those situations. And that's just me being honest. Terrific player. Good luck to him at the Roosters. He can go, and honestly, good luck to him, because he's given so much to the club that I love. And I'll always respect him as a player. But as a person and the way he handles situations, I can 100% totally agree. When Anthony Watmo came out on Hello Sport in 2018 on the podcast when it first started coming out, and he said, Daly Cherry Evans is a selfish prick or whatever. He said all these things. And he said, I came up to him and said, why aren't you training? And Daly Cherry Evans said, my manager told me not until my contract's sorted. And Chock said, mate, we've all took pay cuts for a decade to stay together. And here's this little, kid from Mackay in Queensland coming up and saying, hey, no, you pay me this or I leave. And the fact is, players left that had taken pay cuts for 10 years because Cherry Evans demanded the money, right? No, if he wants to demand the money, that's fine. But Cherry Evans has to understand that his actions and what he wants does affect other people. It affected Manly in their 2025 season. So the way he handles situations isn't right. The way he handles them, the decisions he makes, fair enough, but the way he handles them, not good. 100% footy, not good. So he needs to, I don't know. He's, for me, great player. One of the best players Manly will ever have. But for me, just the way he handles it is just not on, in my opinion. If I'm a Jake Trbojevic or a Tom Trbojevic, even Jake Trbojevic came out the next day after 100% footy on an interview and said, look, personally, I wouldn't have handled it like that. He was fucking pissed, in my opinion. He's pissed. He's going, well, mate, he probably agrees with what I'm saying. Look, leave if you want to leave, but don't fucking come out on 100% footy thinking that that's going to derail, like thinking that that's going to calm everything for the rest of the season and put a stop to it. No, you haven't told us if you're going to retire or move on. obviously he indicated he wanted to move on. Uh, you know, he hadn't told us anything. He just told us that he wanted to leave Manly. Okay, if you want to leave Manly, that's fine, but you've got a responsibility as a player. You don't own the club, mate. You have a responsibility as a player and as a player that's the club has paid you the most out of any other player since 1947. How about you be the bigger person and you sit there with a press conference next to Tony Mestrov? You don't need to like him. You don't need to respect him. You don't need to respect the way he does things. But you have a responsibility as a player and as a person to not just think about the now, think about the last 15 years of your career. Think about the players you've played with that took pay cuts. Think about all the sacrifices that players took around you. And the least you could do is sit there, announce you're leaving, and wear a fucking polo shirt. Wear a Manly training shirt. Show that you love this club. Show that you don't need to love the club. Show that you represent the club, right? But don't go on 100% footy with all the players in the club not knowing that this was going to happen. They had fuck all notice that they were going to leave. He sits there and thinks, no, I want to put an end to it. So I want to come out now and say that I won't be at Manly in 2026. What the fuck? Does that not indicate, you know what? Why does he not sit there and think this could really fuck up our year? Why does he not think that the media speculation and all this is just going to become an absolute circus? How do you sit there tactically and think this is what I'm going to do to put a stop to it so we can focus on our season? Fucking bizarre. Like, I don't get his strategy in doing that. And I don't buy the bullshit in, he's been poorly advised. The guy's 36 years old. He's a really mature, smart guy. He should know better than handling the situation like that. So I genuinely wish him good luck at the Sydney Roosters. But the season was fucked after that. You know, after that, we versed Parramatta at a Sunday afternoon at Four Pines Park, and we won that game. I think it was about 26-12 or something like that. But from then on, it was a shit show. You know, round 6, we went up to Perth to versus Cronulla. We lose that by 6 points, and we lost a lot of games by, you know, close margins as well. And I just thought that his form, if he's going to come out and do that on 100% footy, then back it up and farewell, you know, do the best you can to make sure we've got the best chance of winning a comp through your performances. Like, put a stop to the chat and show through your performances that, you know, you want to see this club, you know, farewell you as a premiership winner again. You know, his form dipped. So if you're going to come out and do that, back it up through your performances. He didn't do that. For me, he had the worst season of his NRL career for a long, long time because of, I think, the way he handled the situation. And I think he's in full denial when he comes out in a press conference and says, oh, look, you know, I don't regret the way I've handled anything. Well, mate, I think you fucking do, because your performances show that you do. You know, it's arrogance. And as much as I've always loved Daly Cherry Evans as a player, mate, you don't own Manly. You don't dictate what happens at Manly. And he's got every right to move on in that. But you don't, if you're going to come head to head against this club, and I don't agree with how Manly have handled this situation, but I'm fucking loyal and I'll always stand by the club. I'll always make sure that this Manly Sea Eagles club, even if they fuck up negotiations or they could have handled situations better, I will always make sure that I stand by the club instead of a player, because not one player owns a club. Not one player comes against the Manly Sea Eagles. This club is a shit show at the moment, but it represents so much. It represents a DNA of mental toughness, and it represents fucking so many great players that have played for the club. Arco, you know, fucking Bob Fulton, Jeff Tuvey, Cliff Lyons, players, Spud Carroll, players, fucking legends of the club that would stick to the fucking, that would take pay cuts for other players to be around them and all that. Anyway, I may have gone on too long about this. I've just realised I've spoken 15 minutes about the Cherry Evans thing, but I am passionate about it because I disagree with the way he handled the way in which he announced his exit. Fucking just sit there at a press conference, thank the club for everything that the club has given himself, his family, for the opportunity of having a fucking 8 to 10 year deal. You know, I just think it was very No, it's my way or the highway. And I think, it's disappointing the way he handled it. Anyway, 2025 for Manly. From then on, that basically sums up the season, the Cherry Evans shit. I really don't know what else to say apart from Anthony Seibold. I question the positions he put in players in 2025. Why it took so long for Joey Walsh to get a debut, I got no idea. He made his debut in round 27 against the Warriors when the season was gone. Unless we won that game by about 96 points, out mathematically, we had a chance apparently, but we were gone. So they debut him. Look, I just think Ruben Garrick to me is not a centre. He's a winger. And I think Trent Robinson can see that too. Like the Roosters are going to buy him to be a winger. Mark Nwanga Nitawase, he's fucking hell. I just said it. That's the first time I ever said it. He's leaving. Daniel Tupou, he's expected to retire after 2026. So Ruben Garrick, I'm expecting he will go to the wing. They've got Billy Smith and Robert Torrey on the centres. So he's a winger, and he's a fucking good winger, Ruben Garrick. He's a really good winger. Why he's in the centres, I don't know. I just don't feel like since 2024, when he moved into the centres, we've seen the best of Ruben Garrick. He was more influential from the wing. He was more involved in the game from the wing, believe it or not. His carries, his kick returns were so strong, and I just feel like he's not a centre. He can play centre. He's a decent centre, but he's a winger. That's his best position, wing. Jake Trbojevic. Why the fuck? Why is Jake playing in the number 13 jersey? I don't get it. I do not get it. Like, Jake now is at the back end of his career, and really, in my opinion, he can only probably play 45 to 50 minutes a game now. So he should be starting prop, come off after 20 minutes, and maybe come on in the second half for 25, 30 minutes. That's probably all he can do now. There were times there where Jake played 80 minutes at lock. Now, he's been around since 2013, Jake Trbojevic. He made his debut against the Panthers in round 26 at Brookie Oval since 2013 was the last time Manly won a comp. So we're talking fucking 13 years ago. His body's been through a lot. He's played in the middle and locked forward since 2016. So he's played Origin, he's played Australia. His body's been through a lot. So he's not an 80-minute player anymore, Jake Trbojevic. And I think he would agree with that. And I reckon that's one of the reasons he wasn't named captain, because he wouldn't be on the field for 80 minutes anymore. And I think finally in 2026, I reckon that they're going to move him to prop. I think that's why they've bought Kobe Hetherington to fill in that lock position. But I want to sit here and I want to be positive about Manly, because it's a club I love. But I'm seriously concerned after the year that they had last year. I am concerned about 2026. I really fucking am. Like, I just don't know if Anthony Seibold's the coach that we need at the moment. I don't think he's a bad coach. I genuinely don't think he's a bad coach. But the fact that there's been complaints about the way in which he's too technical as a coach, and the way he communicates to players, whether or not they're true or not, I'm not sure. But, I respect journos. I reckon a lot of the mail they get's fucking true. And, I just think, there's obviously issues there. One thing I'll give Seibold credit for is he did move Tom Trbojevic to the centres. And when he did that, he copped a lot of criticism, but they ended up winning a few games in a row. They ended up beating South Sydney, then the Tigers, and then they ended up having a game in Melbourne, which was Manly's best win of the year, in my opinion, when they beat Melbourne by 2 points over in Melbourne. I think it was round 20. And that was great, but Tommy played the centres. Lehigh Hopewadi was a fullback, So, look, for me, in 2026, Seibold's got to get the positions right. But Manly finished 10th in 2025, 12 wins, 12 losses. To me, that's just not fucking good enough with that roster. As a Manly fan, last year was the first year in a long, long time where I said, I think Manly can definitely make the top four. I love the club, but I'm not a biased supporter. I say what I think. And I genuinely thought, looking at that roster, I thought they could make the top four. But Cherry Evans saga happened. Anthony Seibold, questions over his future. The off field drama needs to fucking stop at Manly now because I'm sick of it. As all Manly fans are, it has to stop. Tony Mestrov, and I know he's gone now, but Jason King's come in as the CEO, which is great. That's really good. But there needs to be a real fucking vibe at Manly that everyone's on the same boat. Players, coaching staff, and the board. And Scott Penn, he needs to be, stay in Australia for a bit longer, mate. He owns the club, but he needs to, I want him around the club a bit more. He's in New York a lot of the time, apparently. So it'd be good if he's more involved practically, I guess, staying at the club. And anyway, I mean, that's not for me to say. He's a businessman and he's got other responsibilities, but it does worry me that, it would be nice to see more of Scott Penn through the season, I reckon. For example, the Pride jersey, Des Hasler and Daly Cherry Evans came out to handle that situation, and Mestrov and Scott Penn were nowhere to be seen. So it's really important that there's Jason King handles situations really well, and I reckon he will. He's got full respect of the playing group now and respect of the past players. 12 wins, 12 losses just isn't good enough for a spine of Tom Trbojevic, the experience of Luke Brooks and Daly Cherry Evans in the halves. And, Lachlan Croker didn't play much of the season with his head knocks and whatnot, but Jake Simpkin, I think, did a really good job when he came on and played 9. So I think that's not good enough, considering they made week 2 of the finals in 2024, got knocked out against the Sydney Roosters. I expected better things from Manly. I really did. I thought they were going to at least get to a prelim in season 2025 with the roster that they've got. Anthony Seibold, you'd have to give him the first half of the season, and if we're fucked, you got to get rid of him and put in Kieran Foran as head coach. Fucking keep Foran there for 20 years as head coach, or Matt Ballon. Just get a Manly guy in that fucking knows the DNA, that's played for the club, that knows exactly what it's about. As I mentioned, I've met Anthony Seibold once, and I had a few drinks in me, and so did he. And it was a good night. But I won't go into that. But he's a really lovely guy. Like, he's a really, really nice guy. And he's a good coach. He is a good coach. But I just wonder if he's the coach for Manly going forward. I've just got huge concerns, and I've got fucking huge concerns about 2026. And it breaks my heart to say it. And I fucking hope I sit here and I'm wrong. I really do. I hope I sit here at the end of the year and Manly have won a comp, and I'm so fucking happy. That's why 2021 was so good, because we lost the first 4 games. And I remember chatting to my mate Liam Finlayson at the Brookie Hotel after round 4 against the Penrith, and I had a beer with him, and I said, mate, we could get the fucking spoon. And he said, nah, we won't get the spoon, but we're fucked. But we ended up making a prelim final that year, and it was the best season ever because no one expected us to be there. We were gone. Like, everything was so bad. And then Tom Trbojevic had that breakout year. And if I'm proven wrong about Manly, that makes me happier because I genuinely am not expecting it. It's way more exciting. And it's just, you don't take those wins for granted, but things have to change at Manly. The playing roster for me, so many question marks. Luke Brooks in 2025 didn't have a bad year, but he needs to step up. He needs to step up. His short kicking game close to the line needs to be better. And, I know Manly didn't buy Luke Brooks to be the main marquee guy, but he's been around now since 2013 as a halfback and 5'8". He needs to take it up a level in season 2026. Jake had I felt sorry for Jake, his head knocks and all that. There are just so many question marks after the year we had, and it was just such a dramatic year as a Manly fan. From 2005 to 2014, for that 10-year period, we made finals every year, and there was a lack of fucking noise outside, apart from when Hasler left after 2011 grand final. There was just so much stability at the club. There was fuck all noise off the field, but I feel like the last 3 to 4 years, I'm sick of it. There's just so much noise off the field, and Daly Cherry Evans being at the club probably hasn't fucking helped that either. And I just think that good luck to DCE, but it fucking derailed our year. I mean, look at the results. Look at the way we started the season. 3 from 4 wins, and fucking good wins too. And then he comes out, does that. and then we're fucked. So I reckon absolutely there's a world if Daly Cherry Evans handles that better and differently that Manly make the 8. If Manly win 2 more games, they make the 8. I reckon there's a world where Manly make the top 8 if Daly Cherry Evans handles that situation better. I genuinely believe that. I don't think they would have made top 4 or anything. I would have been wrong about that, but I reckon they make the 8 if things are handled better. And the way that the playing group defended and attacked, at times I was watching the games thinking, mate, they are not connected and there's something off about this playing group. And fucking clearly was. There clearly was. And I remember putting myself in the shoes of players thinking, yeah, good on him. If he wants to leave. But man, if I'm a player fucking watching my captain tell me what to do and play for this jersey, and he's the one fucking coming on 100% footy doing that, I'd think, fuck off, mate. Just piss off already. If you're not fully in, don't be captain. He should have stood down as captain. Jake Trbojevic should have been captain. Anyway, for me, as I love Manly, I wanted to do this review. I didn't realise how fucking passionate I'd get, sorry, but it just really pisses me off that Manly are not the Manly that I grew up knowing. And how are Manly going to get back to the Manly Sea Eagles? Like, not Manly Sea Eagles of 2020s, Manly Sea Eagles of the fucking mid-noughties, 2010s. How are Manly going to get back there? Well, fucking stability. It starts at the front office. The players need to understand the club. And what is a Manly player? What is a fucking Manly player? Well, we're not seeing it in 2025. Manly players are players that are mentally tough. And when all the pressure is against them, when everything is against the club, when there's so much off-field noise and whatnot, they find a fucking way to do it. In 2011, there was fucking noise about Des Hasler and Scott Penn, and they were battling heads through the final series, and there was, why isn't Hasler getting contract extended? So they want to comp with drama off the field, which is just rare, right? But in this day and age, success 100% starts at the front office. It has to start at the front office. So Seibold, I genuinely hope he has a good year as a coach. I respect him as a bloke and as a coach. He's a lovely guy. He's just a fucking champion of a bloke. I want him to do well. I really do. But I've got huge concerns. I just do. 2025, 12 wins, 12 losses. It's just not good enough. It just isn't good enough for a club that is built on such a fucking tough DNA. I mean, look at the 1996 season. We won the comp, but that was Manly had in the ARL competition in 1996, Manly had a brick wall defense. Like, it was just, you could not fucking, no teams could get through them. And now I look at our defense and I'm just watching it going, this isn't Manly. This isn't the Manly Sea Eagles. They're not playing what this club is. They're not representing the club the way they should be. And there was a lot of jersey grabbing and fucking players not putting their bodies in front of them, in front of the line. It was just not good enough. And I'm not using the DCE thing as a total excuse. I expected more from the team after DCE, after that happened. It didn't happen. So, look, it is what it is. I wish I could sit here. I'm sorry if you're a Manly fan listening to this or watching this on YouTube and you wanted me to be more positive. But at the end of the day, I think we've got to be fucking honest on this podcast, and it just wasn't good enough. Wasn't good enough. I mean, another great win we had was round 13 against the Broncos. We put fucking 30 on the future premiers at Brookie, and then we end up fucking losing 2 games to Parramatta. We had all our fucking Origin stars playing, and then we lose to the Gold Coast a couple of weeks later. They had no one. They had fucking Tino was out. They had all these players out, and we had a full strength roster, and we got smashed by 20 points against Gold Coast. It's just like the inconsistency shows to me that the players haven't bought into what Seibold's trying to bring to the club, and the players are not connected with the history of the club, and the players do not know what it means to be a Manly Sea Eagle. That's what it shows me as a supporter when I watch the way they're defending. It's not good enough. They need to defend like Manly players. They need to get there and defend like their fucking lives depend on it. They seriously do. They've got to sit there and fucking... They seem like such great blokes, the players, and I want them to win a comp. I want them to do so well. But if I take my Manly hat off for a second, I sit there as a rugby league fan, I'm thinking, what the fuck are they doing? This is like, some of their defense was Northern Eagles standard fucking shit. It was bad. They need to sit there and they need to put the fucking hat back on, and they need to defend and attack like manly players and like a manly player should. When I'm seeing Cherry Evans in round 27 fucking point at the jersey and point at the symbol and then bark at his players, I'm thinking, what the fuck, mate? Like, what are you doing? You're the one going on national TV and you want to leave. Don't point at the symbol, point at them. They should be pointing at you to point at the fucking symbol. Remember who you represent, DCE. Anyway, that'll probably do me for today, I reckon. I need a fucking beer after that. Gee, that got intense. All right, that's the Manly Seagulls 2025 review. Sorry I got a bit passionate there. I wish I wasn't so passionate at times, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, unfortunately. But yeah, I just love this club, and I want to see the fans have success again. We haven't won a comp now since 2011, which doesn't fucking seem that long ago. If you're a Parramatta fan, you're going, mate, fuck, I'd take 2011 any day of the week. But for the club, it's been the biggest drought, for decades. So we need success back at the club, and consistent success, because I know what this club is built on. I know what the previous players that have worn the jersey have done to represent this club to make it successful. It just we need to crack on. Manly need to be back in 2026, and I'll do their preview in a couple of weeks. But yeah, what was really disappointing season, I reckon, 2025 for Manly. If you haven't done so already, you love the YouTube channel, or if you love listening on Spotify, please follow on Spotify and please subscribe on the YouTube channel, guys. It really meant a lot to me. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a bit too honest, but yeah, fuck it. Have a good day. Go Manly.